For this particular set of notes, we'll be talking about some conversation that you could have at the breakfast table as far as offering somebody food or being offered food yourself, and how you would respond to that offering by either accepting the offer for food and telling them what you would like, or refusing the offer for food and politely letting them know that you've had enough to eat, of whatever it might be. We'll start with the ways of offering food. Keep in mind that if at any time I move too quickly, you need to pause the video or repeat it. You're definitely encouraged to do so. And when I say these phrases, I will pause for you so that if you'd like to practice your pronunciation, that would be an excellent idea as well. So, first things first, the word encore. If you think about it, really, whenever you have an encore performance at a concert or a music event of some kind or a play, when you shout encore, it's because you want more of something. So it just stands to reason that if a person offers you encore of a certain food item, such as encore des œufs, do you want some more eggs, that you would be asking somebody if they want more of that item. So, first things first, the word for more, which you would have to put a food item after, is encore. If you want to ask somebody do they want more of something in a different way, you can take the word prendre, which we've learned in previous sections means to have something, like je prends des croissants pour le petit déjeuner. I'm having croissants for breakfast. If you put a re in front of it, just like in English, if you reprendre something, you're having it again, as in having more. So if you ask somebody to reprendre something, and again you do have to put a something after it, you're asking them if they want more of that item. Now these first two phrases are only good if you've already started eating an item. If somebody hasn't had any toast yet, you don't want to ask them to reprendre des toasts, because then it doesn't make any sense to ask them if they want more toast when they haven't already had some. But once again, I haven't paused to say this one yet. If you want to ask somebody, do you want more of something besides saying encore, you could also ask tu reprends. Now, if you haven't started eating yet and you're just trying to get a general idea of what the person wants to eat or drink in general, the next several questions will help you with that. Remember that the question word qu'est-ce que means what. So on all three of these next three questions, we're starting with the word what. Tu veux is you want, and then from there you can just tack on whatever makes sense. Qu'est-ce que tu veux prendre is what do you want to have. So again, that is qu'est-ce que tu veux prendre. If you want to kind of get more specific and specifically only ask them about food items, you can ask them qu'est-ce que tu veux manger, which is what do you want to eat. And if you want to get specific and just offer them a beverage of some sort, you'd want to ask qu'est-ce que tu veux boire, which would of course mean what do you want to drink. Now, if you don't want to have an open-ended question, if you don't want to ask your guest what do you want and have them answer with something that you don't have available, you could get very specific and ask them if they want something specific. Please note that this last phrase of tu veux or vous voulez is used with a food item so that you can offer something specific. So if you happen to have bacon on hand that day and you want to ask them specifically, do you want bacon, you would ask them either tu veux du bacon or vous voulez du bacon. Either way you're asking do you want, keep in mind the tu form is less formal for somebody that you're more familiar with. Vous can be used for either a group of people or for somebody that maybe you don't know so well and you need to be a little bit more polite and formal with. Again, those phrases are tu veux and vous voulez. Now, let's say somebody else offers you something, or maybe you've offered and you get a response from somebody else. It's important to understand what they're saying back to you. So, a couple different ways of accepting. You could, of course, say just oui, yes, or d'accord, okay. All of those phrases that we've learned previously are totally fine and encouraging you to use them. But if you'd like to get a little bit more creative and add to your French vocabulary, j'aimerais is I would like. We've learned j'aime before, which is just J''AIME. This is actually adding the word would to that phrase of I like. It's a little bit more polite. It's just, like I said, though, it means I would like, but you do have to tack a food item on after that. So if somebody asks you, qu'est-ce que tu veux prendre? What do you want to have? You could say j'aimerais and follow it with whatever you would like. Maybe you're really in the mood for some croissant that morning, so you say j'aimerais un croissant. Again, the phrase for I would like is j'aimerais. If somebody offers you something and you don't need to repeat the item, you could just say, yes, I really want it. Now, if you'll notice, the translation for oui, je veux bien is yes, please, but nowhere in that phrase do you see the word s'il vous plaît. This is one of those classic examples of something not translating word for word. So keep in mind that when you say oui, je veux bien, you're actually saying, yes, I really want that. But, no real English speaker goes around and somebody says, do you want some bacon? Yes, I really want that. You tend to say, yes, please. So your book translates it a little differently. Either way, the way you pronounce it is, oui, je veux bien. Now, if for some reason you don't want any more of the food item, for whatever reason, it might not be your cup of tea, or you might actually just be full, here are some polite ways to turn down those offers. First of all, you've got the classic ça va. Ça va can mean that you're fine in the sense of that you're having an okay day, but it can also mean that I'm fine, I don't need any more food. So this is actually a repeat from earlier in the year. No ça va means no, I'm fine, don't need any more of whatever you just offered me. Or if somebody asks you something like, qu'est-ce que tu veux boire? What do you want to drink? Rien, no, ça va, nothing, no, I'm fine. If you want to emphasize the fact that you are no longer hungry, remember that word for hunger is faim, as in famished. If you're famished in English, you're really, really hungry. So the way you say that you're not hungry anymore is non, je n'ai plus faim. Notice it's je n'ai pas, or it's not je n'ai pas faim. Je n'ai pas faim is I'm not hungry. As in somebody asks you, do you want something? You say je n'ai pas faim. I don't have hunger. This particular phrase is je n'ai plus. I'm no longer, used to be, but plus no more. No more am I hungry. So je n'ai plus faim is I was hungry, but no more. Same thing with je n'ai plus soif. It's actually being very specific to say that I am not thirsty anymore. So that phrase again is non, je n'ai plus soif. And of course, the last phrase on here is probably the simplest, and it's probably the way that most Americans would turn down something in English, in that you just say no thank you. The phrase for no thank you in French is non merci. So ladies and gentlemen, this concludes your notes about offering, accepting, and refusing foods. Again, I want to encourage you to replay the video and practice your pronunciation, or re-look back at anything that you might not have caught the first time around. Once you're ready, go ahead and try these 3 practice questions. Come ready to discuss them with your classmates next class at the very beginning of the hour. So if you have, very confident answers, you can share those. If, however, you go about doing this and you don't feel so good about your answers, maybe jot down a few questions about what parts you didn't quite understand. Get really specific so that as soon as you walk into class, you can ask your classmates what they got about this section, and maybe they can help you out. Good luck.